Ladies and gentlemen, may I proudly bring to you, this is Prowsul, and this is my WWE Raw review for the 3rd of March 2014. Wow, a quarter of a year already gone, hey? Well, I better get on with it, otherwise another quarter of a year might go again. So, a lot to talk about, but just before I even start, if you're looking and you're going to be thinking about watching this damn show, I would suggest to, or if you're even thinking that, is it good or is it not good, whether I should watch it or whether I shouldn't, I will advise you to watch it. It is actually a good show, and the reason I'm actually telling you this is so that, basically, I'm going to be doing a spoiler-filled review right now, so obviously after watching it, you can come back and play this and listen to this, and that will be it, really. And add any comments of your own underneath, and that will be it. So, first of all, thank you for listening to this. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you, really. But anyway, we have a lot to talk about because a lot did happen in Raw. It really did. Because straight out of the bat, it was in the actual Raw show was in Chicago. The Windy City, Chicago. I hope I'm right when I'm coming up with that statement. Now, the thing with this, the fact that it was in Chicago is that it is CM Punk territory, and everybody was expecting CM Punk to be back. The guys in the back, apparently, from sources, have said that in the back everybody was expecting CM Punk to be back. However, late Monday they realized that he's not coming, therefore they decided to do a segment without him. And what a segment it was. It was straight out of the window. CM Punk's music came on. I actually believed for a second that CM Punk is back. I really did. I thought, wow, he's back. I knew he wouldn't let his fans down in Chicago, his hometown down. I really didn't think he'd do that. I thought, come on, he's only got a few more months still, end of his contract, but what has he done? He's not even come back. What was that all about? You know, you'd think he'd come from the hometown, but obviously not. I really don't know what's going on with CM Punk, but I do feel as though that he's a bit ungrateful to his own hometown, and the fact that he's only got a few more months on his contract, and, you know, you might as well just come back, get your contract completed, and get out of it. You know, take a break afterwards, you know. That's what would have been the ideal thing for Punk to do, but I think Punk must be really messed up in his head, or he just may really need a break straight away right now. I mean, in the WWE Vince McMahon's conference call, he did say that he's on a sabbatical about Punk, but let's be truthful, he's not really on a sabbatical, he just walked out anyway. So, straight away, Punk's music came on, he wasn't coming out, no one's coming out, and then Paul Heyman came out, and then we thought, whoa, what's going on now? And in my head I was 50-50 then. I was thinking, is CM Punk going to be coming out afterwards, or is he not? And I thought, you know, I thought to myself, I don't think he's coming out, because Paul Heyman's out here, and then he started talking and saying that he cut a great promo. He really cut a great promo, Heyman did. He really did. He saved the WWE's bottom, that is for sure. And they should be very grateful to Paul Heyman, because there could have been a big riot if Paul Heyman didn't do his promo very, very well at the beginning of the show. Because they were a rough crowd, I'll tell you that. It seemed like a rough crowd. If you're a Chicago person listening to this, sorry, but it just seemed like a real hot crowd. But they weren't uncivilized or anything like that, because there was no riots. Literal riot, not that I know of, in any fights. So I guess that's one good thing for them. Now, he clearly, basically, said, in his promo, basically, he said WWE didn't want him. He was always the bad guy, and he was always like a martyr and the guy who's always standing up from you know, against the big bad bully, which is, well, he didn't say bully at all. I'm just putting that in my reference. But he saying that WWE basically didn't want him, and then he twisted it and said that he pointed out to the crowd and blamed the crowd for the fact that he wasn't here. He said that he actually went to you and he started to listening to the fans out there, and instead of listening to Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman made CM Punk, and really it was up to the dead man, because it was the dead man, The Undertaker, which really was a turning block which messed it all up, and that's the real reason which actually happened, what made the whole change of CM Punk. And this is why now Paul Heyman gonna get revenge on The Undertaker. So that was like a really good twist on the fact that going from Punk to Brock Lesnar. I found what really funny was he said that he said, with my bosom from which he was nourished. Paul Heyman coming out with lines like that, that's hilarious. The fact that he paints a real vivid, weird picture of a mother and son, unfortunately, and the mother being Paul Heyman. Anyway, so due to the revenge now, Paul Heyman is going to take the streak away from the dead man, which is The Undertaker. And then Brock Lesnar comes out. And for the first time in a while, I've never really seen him pick up the mic and talk, really. Until I remember the beginning of last year, I think it was against John Cena. That's the only time when he actually had the microphone and started talking. But this was the first time he actually started to talk. And said, I'm gonna beat The Undertaker, I've beaten everybody. Undertaker's beaten everybody, but he's not beaten Brock Lesnar. And that was very, very good and intense, and you kind of think to yourself, oh my gosh, this would be a good, interesting match now. The way they've kind of positioned it, in terms of he wants to destroy the legacy of The Undertaker, and could it happen now? Now, to be truthful, it may. I hope the streak never ends. Personally, I hope the streak never ends and The Undertaker retires. I think he's on. If he wins this year, he'll go to 22-0. I think he should do up to 25-0 and then stop, because I don't know. That's my opinion. But I think Undertaker's getting a bit old, unfortunately. But he would beg to differ, I think. But anyway, after that, cutting that promo which Brock Lesnar did, Brock Lesnar came out and was walking back, and then suddenly Mark Henry's music hit, and Mark Henry came down the ramp, and then Brock Lesnar decided to, sneak attack him, but he got caught and started getting beaten up a little bit. And then Brock decided he beat up Mark Henry a lot, and he threw him into the stairs, and Mark Henry fell on the floor, etc. And then Brock went on a rampage where he was grabbing the monitors and launches the monitors over the ring. And to be truthfully, I thought the crowd went whoa, because literally it felt like he was actually gonna land on some person in the crowd, because he literally launched them. There was like 4 monitors and he grabbed them and he just threw them. And then he basically F5'd Mark Henry through the table, and that was the end of that segment. And it was a very good segment to see, because he went through the table, and that table just gets broken all the time, doesn't it? That's a perfect table to be broken. You could, I'm sure, if you have that type of table at home, it would be good. You could break it and fix it whenever you damn like. But anyway, now this is a history which is happening now. The next match was the Usos versus the New Age Outlaws. The thing is like two hot commodities. You've got the Usos, which are, they are up and coming newcomers. They are, they're ever lively. They're like a bunch of kids, and basically they're just going out there with full, will, and just flying and doing all risk-taking maneuvers. And then we have the New Age Outlaws, which is like the bad guys, but they are actually the cool, admirable bad guys that you actually kind of, you kind of admire as such. The thing is, you just don't want any of them to lose. You really don't. And to be truthful, I don't really want New Age Outlaws to leave the WWE at present. I just hope they don't. I mean, you don't get a second chance in WWE often. I mean, a lot of people haven't got the second chance and run with it. But the New Age Outlaws have managed to do it, and but the unfortunate thing was that the Usos beat them. But at the same time, it was good to see finally some justice done, because quite frankly, the Usos have worked their butts off over the year. They have worked really, really, really hard, and they deserved it. At the same time, it was very, sad to see the New Age Outlaws lose. But if there's any consolation, on Saturday night main event, sorry, no, not Saturday, just the WWE main event on WWE Network, they're having their rematch. So it may be that the New Age Outlaws may get the title back. But one thing I hope is that the New Age Outlaws just don't disappear into thin air like they did to Big Kev last year or the year before. Yeah, I think it was a year before that, when they brought him back for CM Punk segment, and then they after basically getting kicked by CM Punk in the head or something along the line of that, he got fired, and that was the end of that. He got fired by Triple H, and that was the end of it. So hopefully the New Age Outlaws still, remain and still come to WrestleMania. I hope they come to WrestleMania. That'll be good to see. But anyway, now we had Big E versus Cesaro. In this match, Big E won by disqualification because Jack Swagger just jumped in and decided to big splash Big E. And then Cesaro was like, "What the heck you doing again, man? You did this last week." And hopefully this ends now. I really do hope it ends in terms of Cesaro and Swagger, because Cesaro is just getting held back with Swagger, unfortunately. I mean, you gotta give credit to, Jack Swagger's doing okay, but he's not, unfortunately, he's got a lot of work to do, especially in terms of mic skills, etc. Or wrestling skills, I think, as well. But I think Cesaro's way ahead of him, way ahead of him. And well, that's what happened, and that was the end of that. No, another thing which happened, which seems that the Shield, which would basically give a conclusion to whether a group is going to remain or not. Well, it doesn't give a conclusion, but it gives a suggestion, that is for sure, was the Shield versus the Wyatts, because, quite frankly, both teams are supposedly, the unstoppable force. As Gorilla Monsoons would say, it's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. And quite frankly, the Shield have been, weak at times, and it looks like they're going to be splitting up soon, and then Roman Reigns is going to get his opportunity, and quite frankly, that exactly was happening. Now, in terms of the actual wrestling itself, that was absolutely brilliant. absolutely brilliant. Seth Rollins is amazing wrestler. He is absolutely wonderful when it comes to wrestling. His flying ability, high flying ability, it seems as though he's on. It's like Spider-Man. I am not joking you. It seems like Spider-Man. He is like... He somersaults and lands on his feet at the with ease. He lands on his opponents from the ring to outside the ring, and in such a fashion that it's like... my gosh, he's a very good, talented wrestler, I have to say. And you could clearly see Roman Reigns was actually thinking the same thing when he was doing them crazy moves, that is for sure. And the unfortunate thing is that Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose started to argue outside, and then Seth Rollins, while he was getting beaten up, he wanted to tag one of them, but they were too busy tagging it, talking outside. So Seth Rollins got annoyed, and once he got annoyed, when it was opportunity for him to get tagged, he didn't tag any Dean Ambrose. And Roman Reigns walked up to him and said, "What are you doing?" And he went, man, I'm the glue that makes this team. And you two gotta sort your problems out, man. You two gotta sort your problems. So it was just left to Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns to finish the job. And quite frankly, they were fighting each other, And at one point, I did think that they were gonna pull it off. It really did seem like that. When Roman Reigns went and speared one of the Wyatt families through the on the table, that was pretty damn cool. But they didn't explode the table. The table didn't break again. The unfortunate thing, which would have been good to see. But what the heck, you can't have a broken table all the time. Now, so basically, eventually, the Bray Wyatt did the Sister Abigail and won the match, and Seth Rollins was outside the ring, looked rather constipated due to the fact that their team lost, and that was the end of that. So it clearly seems as though they're going to be breaking towards the end of WrestleMania. Who knows? At present, this is the thing with WWE. It just it's changing so quickly right now. The climate, no one knows what's actually happening, and well, we'll have a bit more clarity next week, that is for sure. Now, Batista then came on the microphone, and they gave him the opportunity to say about, because he's going to be fighting Daniel Bryan during the rest of the card and the end of the card, and I have to say Batista's new attitude is very, very good, because on SmackDown, if no one actually watched it, SmackDown he turned heel, and he basically said that where's the attitude, where the real man gone? And he's saying that he loves the business, but the fact is that the real men are not here anymore, and he's the best, and there is nobody out there who can come close to it. And then he ended up fighting Ziggler, and Ziggler called him a dinosaur, and but then they had a match, and I have to say, Batista actually seemed a lot more comfortable doing this type of promo, because this whole babyface type of thing, it wasn't working with him. It really wasn't. And the fact is that everybody hates him because, quite frankly, they just feel as though he's using the WWE just to get his movies recognized. And, we can't blame ourselves to feel that way. We really can't, But anyway, he called Daniel Bryan and he said he was fake, and he said all your superheroes are fake, and I'm the real deal, and you're gonna have no choice but just to deal with it. And it seems as though he really does believe it. I think, fair enough, he believes it, fair enough. But Daniel Bryan's not fake, that is for sure. In terms of wrestling ability, that is for sure. But anyway, the next match was Christian versus Sheamus, and the commentators were really harsh on Christian. You could clearly see that JBL was talking a lot of smack on Christian, making fun of him, etc. And it seems as though, for me, that maybe Vince McMahon might have been telling him to say a few things in his ear to JBL. Because that's what they do sometimes. Because don't forget, Christian's contract expiring, and during the match as well, Michael Cole said that Christian is desperate now. He seems as though that his end of days are coming soon in terms of his career as a opportunity to get the belt. And that's why Christian seems desperate. And to be truthful, it does seem like Christian seems desperate. But to be truthful, why is he desperate? I really don't get that. He has achieved so much. He has achieved everything. He's won the World Championship. For crying out loud, he's won the World Championship in the WWE. He's won the Intercontinental Championships. He's had great matches in terms of Edge and Christian. He's done everything. Sure, he might have not won the WWE title, but who gives it? He's won the World Championship. Regardless. Regardless. Hardcore fans, we all respect him. They've got nothing to complain about, or even you've got nothing more to achieve. Just enjoy yourself, man. You've done everything that you could do. You've been in the TNA and you did great stuff. When they gave him the microphone and they did give him opportunities, he did great stuff. And the unfortunate thing is, he isn't going to get an opportunity again, I don't think, and I think he's going to get after his contract does finish, I think he's going to end up going. But I think Christian, he's done so much, you know what, you should just retire, dude, or, maybe try and do something else. But who am I to say that? You might love it so much that you might want to do it more. Fair enough, if you want to do that, keep going. But, don't feel desperate. It does seem as though he really does feel desperate. And apparently sources are saying that he injured Sheamus after the match. He really did, after the beating, because he lost the match. Sheamus won the match with the brogue kick. When Sheamus was getting interviewed, Christian intervened and hit him. We hit him with his metal. I thought it was a metal, the kettlebell, the weights bell, and hit him in the stomach and beat on him. But it shows another side of Christian, I guess. But it's sad to see though that Christian's just getting a bit desperate. Fair enough, he wants to maybe move to the upper echelon and maybe wants to win the WWE title, but you're hitting a SmackDown guy, which is one of the old world titles, and there's only one title left, and I don't think at present it's not going to happen, but whatever. Anyway, Daniel Bryan came down straight after that and said that to the crowd, let's hijack this damn arena, and I'm going to hijack this place if I don't get one of two things. One, a fight with Batistas, or an answer for the challenge with Triple H at WrestleMania. And then him with Triple H and Stephanie come down, and they talk to him, and they try to make fun of him, and make fun of him, and make fun of him. And Daniel Bryan saying, you know what, we're sick of this. Why don't you just have a match with me? And I'm not gonna leave until I'm not gonna leave until you give me what I want. And Triple H says, right now you get out of my ring. And but basically he said, why don't you make me? And so he called out Kane, and then Kane came out, and Daniel Bryan just beat on him. He beat on him, and then they called the security. And once they called the security, it was the end of that conversation for that period of time, which was, well, it was good to see, because quite frankly, I am getting a bit sick of this whole Daniel Bryan, he's getting pushed, and you know, like every single minute we're all getting. I'll be honest, at Elimination Chamber it ended it for me. I felt as though he got pushed too much, and that was the end of it. They need to just give him the opportunity that he deserves and the respect he deserves now. He's hit the time, big time, and stop all this nonsense. And I'll talk about it further in a minute. Okay, the next match was Dolph Ziggler versus Del Rio. Dolph Ziggler came out with Aaron Paul in his Mustang. And that was really good to see Dolph Ziggler actually coming out and doing something productive for the first time. I mean, not for the first time, he's done a lot of productive things, but I think they don't give him enough credit, Dolph Ziggler, they really don't. He works very, very hard. The only unfortunate thing is he is very lightweight, and no one can take him serious due to that, and he comes with that surf bum type of look, and which was in the 90s, and he needs to do something. I think he's just trying to be a cross between Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect, and I think, let's be honest, Shawn was lucky to get the opportunity to move himself into the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE title, and being a big star at the time when, well, lighter guys weren't given the opportunity to really shine. I mean, the only other guy was Bret Hart, which was, I would say, about 220 pounds as well, 230 pounds. But he wasn't much of a high flyer. But I think that's the thing. With Dolph Ziggler, you can't. Doesn't seem as though he can maintain himself as a big time player. I think he's gonna have to work on something, unfortunately. But clearly he's not getting the opportunity, and the WWE don't want to give him. But it was good to see him finally give a little bit of an opportunity in terms of a bit of respect, and letting him win the match against Del Rio, and him sharing the ring with Aaron Paul, and because the Aaron Paul was there to advertise his movie, so it was good to see Dolph Ziggler, given an opportunity to be seen by Hollywood stars as well. So that's nice to see, and who knows, he may get an opportunity in Hollywood. I hope him all the best. Anyway, Big E had another wrestling match in the evening. It was really, really bizarre. I was like, why is this happening? He was fighting as Jack Swagger this time. But luckily for me, thank goodness, because I didn't really want to watch this match, Jack Swagger, his supposed brother, came in. Cesaro just came in straight away and started beating Biggie. And then Swagger and Cesaro were gonna have a fight. And Cesaro got him down, and he was gonna do the roundabout thing, a spinning thing where he was gonna rub his legs and spin him round. And then Zeb Coulter stopped and said, "Stop this guy! Stop this right now! We're brothers." We're brothers. Give him a hug. Give him a hug, man. Don't be like that. We the people. And then they said out, "We the people." And that was the end of that. But it seemed as though that Cesaro was telling him, "You got lucky there, man. You got lucky with Zeb. Otherwise, I would have thrown you around the damn ring." And quite frankly, I think he just needs one, it was good the fact that Cesaro went to Zeb Coulter. I'll be honest, it was good. But I think a long time ago he should have been pushed to the top level. Definitely, I think what they should do with Cesaro is, well, basically, Zeb Coulter basically betray the All-American Jack Swagger, and basically just manage Cesaro on his own. They basically dominate and get to the next level, and I think that will be good to see. And Cesaro could be one of them weird type of. I think they were trying to move him in a babyface option, but I don't think he will work. I think he needs to be still a bad guy, but a quirky bad guy, where you still kind of end up liking him because he does these stupid maneuvers. So I think as Coulter needs to do something with him. I think they need to move him like on the Kurt Angle type of role. I mean, they try to do that with Jack Swagger, but let's be honest, Jack Swagger's athletic ability is not on the same par as Kurt Angle's was. And I think if Cesaro starts to do that type of attitude, what Kurt Angle did, where he's trying to make out that he is so superior compared to everybody else that they should be apologetic that they are, booing him, that would be good. I think if Cesaro just kind of does the same type of, goes that same path as what Kurt Angle did, it will be good to see. And I think he'll move to the next level, and I really do think that. I think what they should move him with, they should give him a match with Brock Lesnar. That will be building him up, that is for sure. And on to John Cena. Now John Cena's got a groin. Sources are saying that he's got a groin tear, and he came with a with his wrapped knee, and saying that he got injured on his knee, etc. But then he continued to say that, yeah, there's been, I can hear what you are saying. You all want change, and the only way you're gonna get change, you're gonna have to come through me. You're gonna have to come through Cena. And basically, then Bray Wyatt was backstage, and then they did that spooky thing where they turn off the lights and talk from the camera from the outside, and then Bray Wyatt started talking a lot of gibberish as usual. But I think from that little talk, what he was doing, what I gathered was that he is saying that John Cena is lonely at the top, and he's going to take his tower away from him as such. So basically, he's going to finish him off and end his run at the top. Which, well, I mean, sometimes I think John Cena, it would be good to see. I think if they just take out John Cena after WrestleMania, and then give John Cena a bit of a break, because I think there's so many superstars at present who are trying to big themselves up and get to the next level, and then John Cena, because we're oversaturated by John Cena at present. So I think maybe next year, then he can wrestle at some time, or maybe later on in the year, he can wrestle. That'll be good to see. But anyway, next thing, the Russians came out. Alex Rusev. It was reminded me of the 1990s again. I think Vince McMahon just starts to, for me, it just seems as though he's trying to go back to that same 1990s routine where The Undertaker is a guy comes with a casket, and he's dressed up in black, and he has mystical powers, etc. And it's like Disney as such. I think it's a bit cartoonish. I think that's the same thing with this Alex Rusev guy. It seems very cartoonish. It seems something like old Russia, where they, it's not a democracy, communism as such, etc. type of thing, and he is the powerhouse, and he's going to take over the WWE with his massive power and his attributes, etc. I don't know, but I just don't like it. I really don't. I don't care too much for it. Whatever. But anyway, the next match and the final match of the day was Daniel Bryan versus Batista. Now, this was good to see, because quite frankly, Batista, it seems to me that he actually believes that, a lot of the superstars are not good as him. But it was good to see that Daniel Bryan was there, and when they fought, gave Batista one hell of a match. And you could clearly see it. Batista's cardio wasn't up to par, and Daniel Bryan was just beating on him and like he always does, he just loves to beat on people. You know what I mean? You just if you give him a punch back, he'll just be there beating on it, beating on it. That's the way Daniel Bryan is. It's good to see that. And I think Batista was feeling the same thing. He was like, "Oh gosh, what have I got myself into? I'm going to have to fight this guy, and he's hitting me. He's hitting me. I'm trying to stop him, and he's not stopping. I'm gonna have to work harder." Oh my gosh. But luckily for him, the authority came out. Obviously, I mean, obviously this is all predetermined. We all know what's going to happen. But, well, they know what's going to happen. We don't. So the authority decided to come out. You know, it was actually Stephanie, and it was Triple H, and it was Kane. All there, luckily. And Randy Orton was out there as well. So this is it. It just kind of confuses me sometimes. I don't know what's going on when they add too many people to the pie. It's like, what? Why? Why are you doing this? But anyway, Randy was out there, and Randy hit Daniel Bryan. So he thought, wait a minute, why are you hitting Daniel Bryan? Because he was gonna get, maybe he was gonna get the victory over Batista due to that. And also then he went to RKO Batista, but then Batista pushed Randy Orton, and then he got a knee in the face with Daniel Bryan, and then Daniel Bryan kneed Batista, and well, but when he kneed Batista, he was on the turnbuckle, so he didn't feel full force. And then he got up, and then he kicked Kane, because Kane decided to go on the ring apron and try to get into the ring. And Kane landed on top of Triple H. And then Triple H got angry and said, "I'm sick of you, man." Got a microphone and said, "I'm sick of you, you little ungrateful thing." I think it was, or something along the line of that. And Daniel Bryan kicked Triple H in the head, and then he got up. The Batista powerbombed Daniel Bryan, and then Triple H then basically decided to pedigree Daniel Bryan and said, "I'm sick." And it seems as though they're looking their way towards Triple H versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. To this, I honestly say yes, yes, yes. Whether he doesn't win the title or not, I really don't care. But a fight against Triple H, that will be good to see. That will be really good to see. It's about bloody time, I'll tell you. No interference, no anything like that. This is WrestleMania. Any stupid interference, I can't be bothered with it anymore. It really doesn't. You know, if you saw Manny Pacquiao fighting Floyd Mayweather, would you want some, you know, you want Marquez to jump in on the round 8 or 9 and start punching Mayweather? No, you wouldn't want that, would you? You wouldn't want any stupid interference. If you're watching a good match, you want to see a good match and someone win and there's an outcome. So for that reason, I really hope that the match happens, and I hope it's a good fight. Whoever wins, who cares? If Daniel Bryan doesn't win, who cares? The match would be good to see, and it will build Daniel Bryan for sure. Not that he hasn't already. I mean, he has been the big daddy, man. He really has. He's just been on fire after leaving Kane. To be truthful, he's been working hard since he's come in from day one. And he's like the unrecognized, unsung hero, unfortunately. And but we all recognize the guy now. We all recognize him, and he's doing it for the people, the working class, it seems. I think that's why we all just get along with the guy, because he's just like a hard-working guy, and we just can relate to that, I guess. But anyway, that was good of that. And last but not least on the agenda, rest in peace, Paul Bearer. rest in peace. And yes, Paul Bearer is in the Hall of Fame, so he's number 4 in the Hall of Fame ceremony, and it's good to see him in the Hall of Fame after last year, because last year was they kind of used it for the storyline, but this year it's not about the storyline, it's just Paul Bearer, and that's good. It's not very, it's more respectful for him and a way to be in the Hall of Fame. So R.I.P. Paul Bearer. Your work is definitely embraced by us all. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you for listening to this. Peace out there, and have a great day. Thank you again for listening to this. Subscribe, like, share, add any comments. Let me know what you think. Any suggestions, etc. Let me know. Please view my sponsors as well. And thank you. Subscribe, like, comment, everything. Thank you again. Peace!